Okay, so Christy, it's very nice to meet you. My name's Diana Grosh. I'm an agency director with the DeFilippo Group, and it's my pleasure to get to know you just a little bit here today. I'd love to hear from you about what you've been doing in the past, what makes you look for a career change now, just any kind of information that you'd like to share with me.
So I am a business owner. I own a courier company that my husband and I work together. Um, my part of the courier company is to do bookwork and whatnot, and that has slowed down enough that I feel like we can branch out, kind of take all of our eggs out of one basket. And I know that insurance was on my list of things that could sustain us potentially in the future.
Awesome. And I have it written down here that you're in the St. Louis area. Can you be a little bit more specific about that? You live in Maryland Heights? Perfect. Okay, good. Um, I usually try to ask them that because then I can kind of help figure out where we're going to be. Or sometimes the job ad will say it's St. Louis, but they actually live in Illinois, or vice versa. It's Belleville, and then they don't live there. They live in St. Louis. So that determines which avenue I'm going to talk about for the licensing. Okay.
Okay. But the
Okay.
Missouri licensing is
Yes. So
harder.
I'll do both. I can talk about both.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so then the other questions that we ask besides like, hey, what have you been doing in the past? But I might also ask them like, okay, well, I don't really hire based on resumes. I hire people that connect with other people. So I'd really like to get to know you. Anything else you'd like to share with me about the last 3 years that you have? I mean, you said something about your career business, but what about your family? Anything changed for you in the last couple of years? Things like that.
I have 4 kids and they just keep growing up on me. And I guess my business is a kid too, so I don't know. That's just what I've been doing is working all the time.
Okay, very good. Well, I know people are entitled to have a good career, and there are certain things that are going to make us happy and certain things that are going to make us not so happy. So I love to ask this question. Can you give me three things that you know, if those were part of your career, that they would definitely make you happy? And then maybe three things that you're trying to look to avoid. So maybe, working remote versus traveling, working with people versus working with computers, things like that of that nature.
So I think that I would really like to have a team atmosphere, something that people could help out. I don't really want to work 12 to 14, 15 hours a day. And but I would like to be talking to people all the time. But I do work well one on one. And I love to teach people.
Awesome. Anything that you're looking to avoid besides obviously, like working more than a regular amount of time?
Um, I just learn really slowly, so things that have a lot of technology, that's a little bit harder for me. I will learn it, but it just takes a while. So I guess pressure to have to know things really quickly.
That's fair. So two compulsory questions that we have to ask everybody just because of what we do. The first one is because of what we do, you got to see that video, right? So you know that we work with different businesses and we go and we meet with those people in person, and we're working with those clientele. So you have to have reliable transportation, not just one way to an office, but also between businesses. Do you have reliable transportation that would get you from business to business throughout the day?
I do, yes, if I can avoid hitting any more icebergs.
I mean, that's fair. The weather's been kind of rough lately. And then the last one's a little bit awkward, but we do ask everybody because we deal with people's personal financial information. It is a requirement of our government to have a state background check. We're looking at, open court cases, DUIs, felonies, any kind of identity theft. Would there be any reason that you wouldn't pass a background check?
No.
Perfect. So, those are just a couple of questions that we have to ask, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. I definitely think that this could be of benefit to you and for us too, a good fit. By the time somebody comes to me, they've already gotten to see the opportunity. You got to see that video, but there's usually questions there. Usually the questions are oriented around three different things. One, the licensing and training. Also, what does it look like on a day-to-day basis, the actual job for an agent? And then finally, to revisit that compensation. Are there any other questions that you know for sure you want to ask me after viewing that video, or does that sound like it's going to encompass what you need to know?
Oh, that should get it, what I need to know, those three things.
Perfect. If you think of other questions in the middle, let me know. But those are definitely the highlights that I want to talk to you about. So, first, because you're in the state of Illinois, you actually have a luxury of getting on a temporary contract, a temporary certificate or license through the state. So, in the state of Illinois, they actually give you 90 days to try out the career, which is really, really great because in the state of Missouri, on my side, you have to get your license and your exams and all of that taken care of before you can even start the career. In Illinois, they give you a shot to do that for 90 days. Um, you do have to pass that background check, like I said, but as long as you pass the background check, then you can try it. So what we look for is people that are ready to take a leap and go ahead into that training. We start with a classroom training. It's going to be in our St. Peter's office. De Depending on where their location is, we can talk to them about a hybrid or a Zoom training situation, especially if we're going to start interviewing people in Peoria, because that's super far. So if you're super far away, then our classroom trainer will accommodate you to make sure that that happens. We do prefer that you can come in if you're within an hour of the office, just because that in-person connection is so important. But that classroom training would be Monday through Friday, generally from 9 to 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's a week long where you're going to be in the classroom, where you're going to be learning about our policies. How do we talk to our business owners and our HR directors? What are we talking to our clientele about? What do I say whenever I'm meeting with these people? After that first week of that classroom training, then we go into the field training, and that's basically a job shadow situation. So the job shadow means you would be put with a supervising agent. That field trainer is going to be with you step by step. You're basically just watching them do what they're doing for their job. If they're emailing or they're calling a client, if they're meeting with them face to face, if they're setting up their appointments, whatever they're doing, you're sitting right next to them. And it's going to go from full observation where you're just watching them do it, all the way to full participation where you're doing it and they're watching you so that they're there to help you. That process usually looks about 2 to 5 weeks. Again, it's self-paced. So if you're a go-getter and you want to move faster, we will make sure that that's accommodating for you. I, on the other hand, am a slower learner, so I took a little bit longer. I wanted to make sure that I had it all together and on the right page first. So that's okay too. We'll make sure that you have the support that you need. But in the state of Illinois, because you have that temporary contract, we can move straight into classroom training. Now, the next classroom training session I have is going to be on January 20th because of the MLK holiday. So what does that look like for you for your work schedule? So you want to kind of get a guesstimate if they're still working. If they're not working, then they can start the next time. Oh no, I have to give them 2 weeks notice, whatever the case might be. Okay. So that's going to be the Illinois. Let's back up and we'll do the licensing and training for a Missouri person. Okay. So the first thing that we want to talk about is licensing and training. In the state of Missouri, you are required to get your license before you can be employed with us officially. So you have to have your license to be a benefits advisor. That is an exam that they distribute and they take care of through a testing center, through a community college or a testing center. But what we'd like to do is get you set up with a study course. So you can do that on your own. You can get online and you can do it all by yourself. If you were to do that study course on your own, we recommend AD Banker. It's a great study course. It's 14 chapters. You read through the chapter. At the end of each chapter, there's a little mini quiz. With that mini quiz, we'll add up to a cumulative exam at the end of the 14 chapters. It's 150 questions. I recommend you take that comprehensive exam as many times as you possibly can. It's going to really prepare you for the actual exam that happens. Again, 150 questions, you have to get a 70% or better. And then after you pass that test, then you can get your license. If you were to go on the open market and you were just going to do that on your own, it's usually around $200. But because you're connected with us, we can get you in with our group rate. So what that looks like is a $50 cost. So I'm actually going to share my screen with you here. That way you can kind of see what we're talking about. But that study program, like I said, it's going to be $54 instead of the 200. Then whenever you're ready to take your test, it's going to be $35. And then after you pass the test, 70% or better, then you're going to pay for your license. So total, you're going to invest about $200. Now, when you come in and do our classroom training, which is going to be a week in the office here in St. Peter's, after you complete that first week, we're going to reimburse you that full $200. And that license will belong to you. You'll get to keep it. You can take it and go work somewhere else if you wanted to, but we want to at least see you come in and complete our classroom training before we reimburse you on that. So that is an out-of-pocket upfront cost. The first part is that 54.95. Now, Christy, is that going to be a problem for you to invest in yourself and in your career?
No.
Okay, perfect. So once we've gotten you on that study program and we've gotten you through that testing and the licensing, then we put you into our classroom training. The classroom training is going to be here in our St. Peter's office. Again, if you're super far away, we can make sure that we have a Zoom option for you, but we really recommend you coming in person. That in-person connection is going to be so much more valuable whenever you're learning all of this material. We're going to teach you about our policies and what we say to our HR directors and our business owners. You're going to get to work one-on-one with our classroom trainer, Brandy. That usually looks like Monday through Friday, like 9 to 4. At the end of that week, we'll reimburse you for all of your costs to get your license, your study program, and things like that. And then after that week, we'll put you into the field. So you'll get to job shadow with a supervising agent. So that agent is already somebody who's doing their business, they're doing a good job. Now they're going to let you come in and watch them do that. So we're going to take what you learned in the classroom and we're going to use it into the field. So we're going to, if they're setting up an appointment or they're making a phone call or they're meeting with those clients or those business owners, they're going to show you how to do that. And you're going to go from full observation all the way to full participation where you weren't doing anything, you're just watching them. And then you're going to do bit by bit by bit until you're doing it all. And then they're able to watch you and see if there's any problems that they can help fix. So you're not by yourself. That process takes about 2 to 5 weeks. Again, it's self-paced. So if you're a go-getter and you're learning it faster, then we can move you through that process. I did have somebody that completed that whole process in 3 weeks. It was pretty fast. I, on the other hand, am a slower learner. So I wanted to have more time and make sure that I was really doing the right things. I didn't want to get out there and not know what I was supposed to be doing. So it's totally fine. We take the time that we need to be able to support our people. So, Christy, that's a lot of information about the licensing and training. What questions do you have on the licensing and training portion?
I think that summed it all up.
Perfect. So I try to do a checkpoint at each of those sections in case they come up with a question or they're like, this doesn't sound like it's for me, and then I can stop the interview. That way you're not wasting your time just talking and they're going to decline. So second part is the same, Illinois versus Missouri. So only the first part is different. Um, Second part is the day in the life of the agent. So I'm going to share my screen again. And so, Christy, like we talked about in that video, what we do is we work with businesses of all types and we help provide benefits to their employees that are permanent and portable. What that means is that they get to take those with them whenever they retire or leave that company. It's very, very valuable for our working class Americans because those policies never change in cost. Now, what we're looking for is people that can communicate not only with our HR directors and our business owners and have those top level communication skills to show them how to retain and attract high quality employees, but also people that can relate to the employees themselves. Because we meet with those people one on one in person, and when we talk to them about their benefit needs, we have to be able to explain to them what their benefits currently are and then what their options are as well. So that communication is really important in what we do. We're looking for people that are compassionate, that want to help others, but then also can have those good communication skills. We work with all types of businesses. So what that means is we work traditional business hours, Monday through Friday, generally 8 to 4, 9 to 5. Now, I will say we do flex that time because, of course, if we're working with a school, they start at 7:30 and then their day ends at 3:30. Well, I'm going to start earlier and be done earlier, right? Or maybe a road crew that wants us to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, or a restaurant that needs us to be there in their later shift from 5 to 9, right? So the good part is because our traditional schedule is Monday through Friday, we're not looking at a lot of evenings and weekends. We do travel a little bit to get to those businesses, but it's not travel like I'm going to be gone Monday through Thursday of the week and not see my family. So you're going to get nights and weekends. And then as you build your own book of business, you're going to get to decide what that schedule looks like for yourself. Okay. But traditional work site hours, Monday through Friday, again, a little bit of flexibility depending on the type of business that we're working, but it is in person, 40 hours a week. We expect you to be face to face with people. In our experience, telesales, phone calls don't necessarily work as well. And so we really encourage that face-to-face contact with our people. Now, what questions do you have about what it looks like for the day in the life of an agent?
So after 5 weeks, I just go out on my own and find businesses on my own.
Great. So if you remember in that video, whenever we were talking about how do we do our leads, how do we do that? We actually run our business through Salesforce. And Tony, our agency owner, he already has a connection with thousands of accounts anyways. Remember, we work across Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Kentucky. And those accounts will get you started. Whenever you're first coming into the business, we're going to use those accounts to get you started, to show you how to work with people, to work with our current clients. And then from there, we're going to show you how to build your own book of business based on those previous accounts that we already work with by building referrals, business to business, and then also with the leads that Tony provides us to go in and make those connections. So that's something that you're going to get to see whenever you're working with your field trainer. You're going to see those connections being made from previous connections already, and then new connections that they're trying to make with their book of business. So we're going to teach you how to do that.
All right.
Great question. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Perfect. So then the last thing that we want to talk about is our compensation. And if you remember, whenever we were talking through that slide in that video, our compensation is performance based. Okay. And I really like this because remember, in my background, I'm a teacher. I was a teacher for 15 years and I was really, really driven, hard worker. I spent a lot of time, extra time working on performances and after school clubs and activities. But I got paid the same amount as the person sitting next to me, the PE teacher that just had their feet up. So I'm sure you experienced that whenever you're working at, an hourly rate wage, like there, you've seen that in the restaurants that you go to and eat. Some people are running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and some people are sitting back with their phones in their hands. So the great thing about a performance-based compensation is that you can earn what you deserve. Now, the way that ours works, remember there's 4 types of income stream. The weekly direct pay and the weekly bonuses, those happen immediately. Renewals happen after the first year when they renew their policy. And then a weekly bonus can happen if you move into management or leadership. So I really want to focus on the first two because those are the ones that are going to affect you immediately. Okay. So if you remember in our example that was in the video, we're going to partner with a workplace, okay? And let's just take your courier business, for instance, okay? So let's say you have 10 employees. Now, remember, we can work with businesses of all types, all sizes, so 5 to 500, but 10 is a simple number. So 10 employees, if we talk to those 10 employees, our participation rate is going to be about 60%. 6 of those people are going to say, yes, I want to take part in this program. And if we sell them about $50 a month on that premium, that's how much they're going to pay for their life insurance, their cancer plan, their accident plan. $50 a month times 12 months is an annual premium each of $600. 600 times 6 is 3,600. Okay, and I'm going to take that over here onto a little cheat sheet because I'm a visual learner. So that's $600 times 6 sales is going to be $3,600 AP, annual premium. When you first come into the business, your average commission is going to be about 48%. We pay more on life policies because there's only one claim on a life policy than we do on a health policy because there could be multiple claims on that one, right? So Average commission is about 48%. If I do that on my potential commission on that, what I wrote, it's about $1,700. Now, instead of getting 100% advance, we're going to give you a 60% advance. When you first come in, you're on a 60% contract. The other 40% doesn't come to me, doesn't go to the home office. It's actually going to go into a savings account because Christy, I'm sure you know in the country, we have people that just decide not to pay their bills, okay? And if somebody decided not to pay their bill after our company had already paid you 100% of your commissions, then who would be on the hook for the rest of that payback, right? You would be. You already got paid on that. So then the company can come to you and say, hey, I already paid you these commissions. Now you have to pay me back. So instead, that 40% is going to go into a savings account, and that savings account is going to be held in case those people don't pay their bill. Okay. And as you make more good business and you're building up that savings account, then they're going to actually give you an additional bonus off of that. Now, that's not a guarantee because you have to show us that you can write good business and you can keep that business paid for, but it's not taken away from you. It's held on to just in case there's a chargeback is what we call it. Okay? So 60% advance on those commissions, that's going to give you a direct pay of about $1,000. We have an additional bonus, like I said, whenever we write life insurance, because they really want you to focus on life insurance. It's going to pay you more commission and we're going to bonus it. So your bonus could be from 0 to 20%. We're going to average that here at 10%. So that's going to add another $360 it's going to pay out to you. So we're going to get a total of about $1,400 total that's going to be a direct pay that you're going to get that every single week. And that's talking to 10 people and selling to 6. Now, if you remember in our example, that is one case where you have 6 sales and you get about $1,400, $6,000 for the month, and that equals out to be about $73,000 for the year. Now, that's talking to 10 and selling to 6. I do have people in my team that want to talk to 5 and sell to 3. I also have people on my team that want to talk to 20 and sell to 12. So again, you get to decide how much you want to make. And the great part about it is that what if last week was a rough week? I can work a little bit harder this week or the next week. Oh, I know I have a big bill coming. Christmas is coming. I have to buy a new car. I can work harder there. The range of earnings in this position is very, very wide. Okay. But remember, we're talking about an entire country. We're talking about nationwide here. So 30 to 100,000, that's a huge range. I realize that. But we have a huge range of work ethic. So what we see in our agency specifically, first year agents at the DeFilippo agencies usually make between $55,000 and $75,000 for that first year. Okay. And then, of course, you can move into those leadership positions, add some more responsibility for yourself. And if you do that, then you're opening up more income earnings. In addition, then you can talk about those renewals that you would add after your first year of those policies. What questions can I answer for you about the compensation?
I think you covered it.
Okay, perfect. So, Christy, let me ask you this. With the study course, with the training that we set up, with the field training, the classroom training, with getting you set up with direct pay and bonuses, do you see any reason why you wouldn't be successful in this career?
No, I think I'll be fine.
Okay. Can you see yourself being successful in the very short term, or do you think it's gonna take you more long term to be more successful in this career change for you?
I imagine long term.
Okay, that's all right. A slow build, right? We're looking to build wealth over time, not getting rich quick, right? That's definitely what
Right.
I would recommend anyways. Um, what concerns do you have about not having enough support or anything that you think maybe would hinder your success here at the DeFilippo Group?
I would be a little concerned at the startup, just the cost of everything without having a guaranteed pay, but otherwise, um, I mean, I can understand I work hard, I get paid hard.
Sure, I
Well,
like it. Okay, so Christy, um, since you're in Illinois, the next step for you is to complete that background check. And like I said, we have a classroom training on January 20th. What does that look like again for your schedule? Would you be able to start with us on January 20th, or is that something that you need to talk to a current employer and give 2 weeks?
I wouldn't be able to start on the 20th, but I could start the next week.
Okay. Perfect. So what I'd like to do is, um, okay, switch. We're going to switch to Missouri. Okay, so now the next thing for you, Christy, if you're in Missouri, is to get you set up with that study program. You said that you didn't think that 54.95 was going to be a problem for you to invest. Is that something that you're able to do today, or do we need to wait until your next paycheck in order to do that?
No, we can do that today.
Okay, perfect. So Christy, what I'd like to do is I'm going to go talk to my hiring director and see if we have any available spots. I really like you, Christy, and I think that you would be a great fit for our agency. I think that you would do really well here. I want to see if we have an available spot for you. Are you okay to hang on just a minute?
Sure, no problem.
Perfect. So then I mute my screen, I mute myself, I turn off my camera, and then I basically just sit there for a minute. Like I don't even get up and go talk to Deanne because obviously we know we're going to hire them. But then I let them sit there a little bit. You could kind of see their reaction if they're like, you can kind of tell if they're excited or if they're like nervous. And then you get on the thing and you're like, okay, I'm really excited. Deanne said that we do have an available spot. I would love to get you set up with that study course or set them up for the training or whatever the next step is for them, depending on which state they're in. And then we tell them, okay, Sarah's going to reach out. This is the phone number. She's going to call you in the next 15 minutes to get you set up with that background check or the study course, whichever one it is. And then we say congratulations and all that kind of stuff. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
What questions do you have on the interview process, the final interview?
Um, this will be good. I'll just watch it over and over and over.
Perfect.